Now, when you currently perceive any degree of resistance, when you're met with resistance while you try to manifest your desires, then this video will be just perfect for you, because we're covering the topic of resistance when manifesting. So like I said here, the solution to resistance when manifesting a goal is, well, let's find this out together right now. So like I said here, most people perceive and experience an inner conflict because their desires conflict their present life circumstances, right? And they try to force things into existence. So what do I mean by that? Well, most people, when they start off and they say, hey, so now I want to manifest this partner. Now I want to manifest the health. Now I want to manifest more money. Now I want to manifest an upgraded lifestyle. And it can literally be any other desire. Also desires that I don't mention in my videos, right? Desires that are unique to you, desires that are simply relevant for you. If it's, maybe having something to do with a specific family member or a partner, or again, any condition, whatever it might be. But what happens is that most people, they experience this inner conflict, right? Because they look at what is, they see their current circumstances, and then they go within to make those circumstances change, but it feels like the complete opposite. It causes friction, it causes them to feel delusional, and then they try even more, right? They think, oh, my circumstances still haven't changed yet, so I need to go much more in my inner world. I need to go much more in my imagination to make things happen there so that they can happen on the outside, right? And then becomes this back and forth, and oh, the outside shows something that is opposite. No, let me escape in my inner world and do some shifts there so that eventually I get the results. And it becomes a disaster because those people have not understood and built a healthy relationship with the 3D world, right? They don't understand what it is, how it works, how the dynamics of consciousness, and then also the external mirror, how that works. So let's talk about this a little bit more, so that after this video, my aim is that you're able to no longer perceive and experience resistance and this inner conflict. There should be no inner conflict, because we should come to the realization that although our present circumstances are maybe the opposite, maybe denying our wish fulfilled, maybe there's a seemingly challenge, a seemingly problem, something unexpected coming up, something worsens, right? The situation gets worse than before, although you come into conscious manifesting and you do these conscious shifts. That, first of all, that doesn't take away your wish fulfilled state. And that is also not the measurement point. The outside world is not the measurement point for movement. You can on the outside still see the seemingly lack, be seemingly stuck, seemingly be not with your desire. But if within you are in the wish fulfilled state, if within you place yourself in the end state, if within you moved, well, then also eventually on the outside you will move. So in order to manifest, as you know, this is just a quick reminder before I then will come to the next slide, where we're going to answer this question, right? How do we overcome this inner conflict? But before we do that, in order to manifest, as you know, we have to be in the here now, in the wish fulfilled, right? Why is that so important? Well, awareness, imagination, consciousness includes everything, right? Within our awareness, within our imagination, every desire state, every potential state is already included. Right, so it's in a sense, we just maneuver through states. We just identify with a new state and then that is expressed. But all of these states exist within us. We don't create them. So that is also why people again struggle, because they try to force things into existence, trying to make something happen on the outside, which is not working. Right? We cannot create anything. We can just align into that state, into that portion of creation, into that identity of us that already has it. That should be a smooth process, not a forcing something into existence. How does it make sense to force something into existence when everything already does exist? We just select a new thing. We just align within to that thing that we want, right? To that state that we want to express. But again, in order to manifest something, manifestations are the consequence, the result, the mirror, the byproduct, so to speak, of the internal appropriation of the wish fulfilled state. So as soon as a person claims themselves to be X, and that's natural for them, that's accepted for them, that's done for them, that whatever corresponds or correlates to that X state will be expressed in their circumstances, in their, in people, like people are messengers that will tell those tell this person who they are based on what they claim to be true for themselves within. So the manifestation is always only the consequence, right? But what matters is where do you dwell in the here and now? Because that will determine what you get next. That will determine what life shows you next, right? Your name is I am, not I will be. So what do you say that you are now? So if right now your senses deny that you're something, we still have to within claim that we are it, and then also eventually our senses will confirm that. So, like I said, right, your circumstances are reverberant, aka echoing. They are a delayed mirror. They are confirming of what you have alive within yourself. So here we come to one important question. If that's the case, if we learn to understand that our circumstances are never final, because they move as soon as we move within, they change as soon as we change within, right? They show something new as soon as we no longer take our cue from what is, but identify ourselves with a new state, imagine something new, right? Shift our awareness to like a new state. And then also the circumstances slowly, sometimes quicker, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but eventually they change. So they're not final, right? And if that's the case, if they're only a confirming mirror, how can they matter, right? You hear a lot of people saying, circumstances don't matter, that's it. But you hear just statements like, yeah, but circumstances don't matter. So shut up and just believe that. But circumstances will matter to you subjectively if you are identified with them, if you don't see them only as a mirror. So it is a truth what everybody says, right? Circumstances actually do not matter. That is in a sense true. But you have to understand the reason why they in a sense don't matter. Why it doesn't matter what is happening right now in your world. Because, again, what we just said, right? Because those circumstances are a delayed mirror. So if what you see right now, which is just like an external mirror image, how can that determine what is happening next? It can't. Only when someone is so identified in those circumstances, they will matter to them, right? The person who is identified with illness, of course, those symptoms and those health issues will matter to them subjectively. The person who is identified with not having their partner and looking for them and waiting for them and trying to manifest them and they're seeing the opposite and stuff like that, of course, the circumstance will matter to them. So you have to disentangle yourself and understand that, okay, what is there right now can be as it is. We're going to talk about that on the next slide. But that doesn't determine anything, right? That doesn't determine what is happening in the future, so to speak. So the problem is also that people believe they have to convince their rational mind. That is also what causes this friction, right? That is also what causes this inner conflict, right? Because people try to convince their mind. But please understand, I say it multiple times, but your mind, your rational mind, is tied to your senses. It only believes, in a sense, what is there right now. Manifestation has nothing to do with trying to convince our mind. The mind is limited in its way. Our imagination, our awareness is, so to speak, beyond our mind. That is our true power to consciously give our attention into the desired reality and identify with that. And then, because that imagining creates reality, because that infinite intelligence moves us into that state, then our mind sees the results, and then our mind will believe, oh yeah, of course that's easy. Oh yeah, of course it's possible. But you do not need to try to convince your mind, right? In your current state, you can't believe it. If you never made more than $1,000 a month and you'd say to your mind, I make $10,000 a month, your mind has no reason to believe it. But through imagining, through internal experiences, through internal shifts, inner movement, right? Movement within consciousness, right? In the unseen reality, so to speak, you can identify yourself more and more and more with such a state until it becomes believable from the depths within you. But it is not on the mind level. It's like it becomes a deep internal identification. You have literally placed the inner man, the inner self into the wish-fulfilled state, and then that, of course, that is going to be reflected and expressed, right? But there's also one problem, right? That people are in the state of lack, and they try to convince their mind of, no, it's opposite. Affirmations, surface level shifts. That is oftentimes very short-lived. So now the question is left. I know I've kept you waiting, so to speak, for my answers here, but the question is, how do we overcome this inner conflict, right? How do we overcome this inner conflict when we want to manifest something, but there's no proof and it feels there's a lot of resistance coming up. We feel that we force something. How do we overcome this inner conflict and make it smooth? Well, in my eyes, it is not that complicated. So that is the solution to decrease resistance. First of all, don't mistake the unnaturalness of the desired state with resistance. Right? I see this happening a lot of times. The fact that your desired state, right, someone who earns $1,000 a month, but they say, hey, I have the desire to make $10,000 a month because that implies for me financial abundance, for example. And then because that is so unnatural, that state, people tell themselves, oh, I have resistance towards it. I have to dissolve a block. I have to let go of old money beliefs. I have to let go of, old beliefs and things from the past because there's so much resistance. But sometimes, a lot of the times, what you call resistance is simply you feeling unnatural. It feels so unnatural to dwell in that new state because you've never dwelled in it, or you've never dwelled in it for extended periods of time. So when you then start to imagine something that implies you have your goal, but you've never really had that thing in your life, then of course it feels unnatural, right? It feels like, what? I am that, I can be that, I can have that, I can manifest that. It starts to feel really unnatural. And of course, when you continue to dwell in it, when you return back to it, the naturalness will increase, right? That which first previously felt unnatural, at some point will become obvious. It will become certain. It will become just so, natural to you, right? So one key thing that you have to understand when we talk about decreasing resistance is you have to develop a better relationship with your 3D world, right? You have to acknowledge the current circumstances. They are okay as they are right now, right? So if you have a desire, but your circumstances are right now showing you the opposite, showing you no movement, showing you something seemingly got worse, something is stuck in your circumstances, something is undesirable, acknowledge it. Every attempt to escape that, every attempt to fight that is causing the resistance, right? It's you trying to escape what is now present. So acknowledging does not mean accepting as final. You simply see it as it is, right? You see the current mirror image. It's like you go in the bathroom and you see, oh, right now you don't like your haircut, or you don't like your makeup, you don't like whatever you, depending on if you're a boy or girl, right? But if you don't like what you see in the mirror, then instead of trying to, do something in the mirror image and change the mirror and shake the mirror and reorganize the mirror and all of that, or looking away from the mirror, no, you see it as it is right now. But then you understand, wait, that is a mirror image. That will change once I change. So if I change my haircut, then also I will like the mirror image. That will also change the haircut. Quite obvious, right? It's a quite kindergarten example, but you know what I mean. So just acknowledge the circumstances. Practice that, right? Acknowledging without accepting is final. That's basically the premise. And what is meant by ignoring the current circumstances? Because that is also what I hear a lot of people shout, right? Ignore the 3D. Ignore the 3D. The 3D is just an illusion. 3D is not real. It is stupid to look in the 3D and all of that. There is an underlying truth to that. But again, it's just usually shallowy level advice. So what is meant by ignoring the current circumstances does not mean that you have to fight against them or forcefully pretend that they're not there, right? So you can acknowledge them. But what is meant by ignoring the circumstances means, like I said earlier, to not accept them as final, right? You can see them, you can acknowledge them. Yep, that's there. Yep, I have the health symptom. Yes, I don't have the partner here. I don't have the money here. I don't have that desired lifestyle here. You can acknowledge that this is right now the case. You don't need to ignore that, because ignoring it and trying to, no, that's not there, I can't look at it because it's bad. And then trying to do a lot of techniques to get rid of it, that is usually causing the resistance. But acknowledging, saying, yep, admitting to yourself that, okay, that is there right now, but you understand the dynamics of consciousness, you understand the dynamics of manifesting, you understand the dynamics of the mirror of life, the delayed mirror of your inner world, and then you can see it and be like, but I don't accept that as final. And that is in a way you ignoring the current circumstances. You still acknowledge them, but you look through them. You're not taking your cue from them and saying, because this is there right now, I am this person. No, you say, I am this person, and therefore later this is what my circumstances will show me. Now here's one of the most helpful tips when you experience resistance and it feels like difficult, you feel like you fight for something, you feel you force something. Simply, next time when you go into shifting into a new state, right? The next time you go into an imaginative scene, the next time you internally shift to the end state, ask yourself this simple question. You might have heard it already, and you might be like, that question now will help me. Trust me, if you really toy with that question and you say it multiple times to yourself, it can introduce such new level of ease that you might be surprised. So the question is, what would it be like? What would it be like? That question does not say, what will it be like? Right? Which then introduces this, I have to really like hold on to the specific feeling, the specific state, and make everything perfect, right? It's also a big thing that people try to, make everything perfect, the scene, how they imagine just everything, and they put so much, in a sense, restrictions, and they put so much limitations, they put so much requirements onto themselves. But that's not needed, right? Simply ask yourself, what would it be like? Because this question implies that now you can't believe. Now your mind can't believe that you can have X. The mind has no reason because it sees the opposite. The mind has no reason because you never maybe manifested a certain thing that you desire right now. So you acknowledge what is, you don't accept it as final, and then you ask yourself, but if I could have this, right? Which implies that you don't have to even believe it right now. But what would it be like? Just for the sake of, if I would, suppose I would make this experience, right? Suppose I can manifest that. Of course you can, but it's in a sense we trick the rational mind with that. We overjump the rational mind with that. When we say, mind, okay, I see you can't believe it right now. It's okay. It's totally fine. But if it would be true, what would it be like? What would I experience that would imply my wish is fulfilled? What would it feel like? What would it be like? What would my mood be like if I would be the person I desire to be? That question was a complete game changer for me. So I highly recommend you ask yourself this question and see what is coming up for you. Right? And then, of course, when you ask this question repeatedly, then the goal is that you have the experience of the desired state in the here and now, like we talked about in the first slide, right? The goal is always that we no longer perceive a separation from us and the desire like it is over there happening in the future. No, but that we are it right here and now. That within, our inner self is basically in the here and now, in the wish-fulfilled state. And then our outer self will also be led there through this bridge of incidents. Right? But let's just make it practical. Let's just say this money example, right? Years ago, when I came into manifesting, also one of my desires was to manifest money. So I had no money at this point, literally no money. I left a previous company that I founded with two other people, but then I started to fall out of love with it, and my desires completely changed. Life was completely showing me like, that's not for you, that's not it. I felt dissatisfied. I knew exactly what I wanted. And although I had no reason at all to believe that, my mind was not able to believe that I can be financially independent or make my own money and, work in a completely different field, so to speak. I imagined what would imply that, right? What would it be like? What would a family member say to you if I would have my, let's just say, dream business, or would do what I love and all of that stuff, right? What would that be like? And then you can devote yourself, you can drop into the experience, not holding on to something, right? And then I had the experience, I imagined this scene where my parents congratulated me and they said, wow, Nicholas, we're super proud of you. Like, we're so proud of you. And I listened to that, right? I listened until I heard. I listened until I literally felt like it was just said to me. That created that deep shift, that created that identification with that new state. And then eventually that state expressed. That's why right now I'm speaking to you. That's why right now I'm here, because I imagined that this is what I do. Right? So have this experience of your wish fulfilled, of something that implies you are in your desired state, something that would naturally follow your manifestation. So if your manifestation would be there, what would someone say after that? What would you do after that? What would happen after that? What would imply that it already happened? And then that is what you imaginatively experience in the here now. That is your wish fulfilled. Life can then confirm that you already gave yourself within the wish fulfilled. Because like Neville said, life gives you what you first give yourself within. So if you want love, give yourself love. If you want financial abundance, you have to awaken that within you first. You have to shift within into it first. As within, so without. And then what is interesting is that the belief in your desired state will be a result of dwelling in it. So again, belief is not a requirement. If right now you can't believe, don't force yourself to, I have to believe it right now. Only then I can manifest. I first have to believe somehow that although I make no money right now, I can make $10,000 right now. Then people wait till hopefully they believe it. No, you won't be able to believe it. You will believe it when it is there. So in a sense, stop trying to bring your rational mind to the belief. The belief in your desired state will be a result of you being in the desired state. So your job is to shift internally into the desired state. And therefore, the more you dwell in it, the more believable it will become, the more natural it will become. Like I said, the more certain it will become. And then you will be it within. That is who you are. And then that is expressed through you, through your actions, through your automatic actions, through the impulses you get. Everything in the world will move so that you end up where you first were within yourself. Right? Imagining creates reality. As within, so without. That is this principle that also this video was about. Right? But that is my solution to resistance. So summed up, if your desired state right now feels unnatural, that is not a problem. That doesn't mean you have resistance. Right? Resistance usually comes from trying to force something, from trying to battle for something, trying to fight for something, trying to push something into existence. But everything is there. You need to understand, okay, creation is finished. So I go within, and within I align myself to that identity, to that state, to that version of me that already experiences the wish fulfilled. Right? And my circumstances right now can be the opposite. They can right now show me the seemingly lack of my desire. That's okay. But I know that within, I can experience it. By asking the question, what would it be like? Would I already be in my wish fulfilled? And then we can, in a sense, drop into that desired state effortlessly. Definitely let me know in the comments if that helped you, right? If this video helped you to feel less resistance, I would really like to know this. Maybe you say, but what about this? What about this? Then I can make another video to cover this topic more. These were just some of my findings, some of the things that I encountered in my journey, and what I see also for the members in my program, which helped them. If you need help with that, again, I have my program. You can join that. That's the second link in the video description. We have over 360 people in there. It's an amazing community. We have coaching. We have a proven program that people went through, and they manifested literally anything that you can imagine right now in any life area. Business success, relationships, health, money, jobs, new friends, a better lifestyle, whatever you desire probably right now, at least one person in this community has already achieved it. So I would love to see you inside if you want to be part of that community. Thanks for watching, guys. I see you in the next one. Bye.